Dans cette video, we're going to go over common French language for going to the doctor so that you can feel a little bit more clued up next time you have to go. Alors, si vous êtes prêts, allez, c'est parti. Salut tout le monde, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Alex. I'm a UK-born French coach living in the sunny south of France. Here on the channel, we explore the French language from everyday situations. And today we're talking about going to the doctor in French with a little help from a very silly comedy sketch a little bit later on. Tout d'abord, you need to book the appointment. And the expression you'd need for this is prendre rendez-vous. Prendre rendez-vous. So if you're booking the appointment on the phone, you'd call up the doctor's surgery and say something like, Bonjour, je voudrais prendre rendez-vous s'il vous plaît. Je voudrais prendre rendez-vous s'il vous plaît. You'll notice they use the verb prendre, which literally translates to take. And they also don't say un rendez-vous, they just simply say rendezvous. That's just the way it is. Although if you said un, it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference. So just remember this expression as a whole. Prendre rendez-vous. It's really useful because it transfers across all sorts of domains where you need to book an appointment. If you're not quite ready to use the phone yet in French to do this sort of thing, then the expression still comes in handy if you want to use an app called Doctolib, which is, in my opinion, the best app for booking appointments with all sorts of medical professionals from the palm of your hand. The video is not sponsored by them, by the way, I just love it. French admin is a pain, and this just makes it really easy to browse and book appointments with a doctor. You see this expression all over the place from the very first screen, suggesting that you prendre rendez-vous, to at the end when you actually want to finalize your booking, prendre rendez-vous. When it's the day of your appointment, there's often a receptionist there who greets you first of all. You need to let him or her know who you are. So you'd say something like, Bonjour, j'ai rendez-vous avec le docteur, followed by their name. And again, you use rendezvous here. And even if your doctor is female, you're going to want to say le docteur, le docteur. It's just the way it is. There is the title for la doctoresse for the female form of this word, but they go by le docteur most of the time. So his or her profession is un médecin, and their title is un docteur, or le docteur. Now the receptionist is going to reply something along the lines of, Très bien, je vous laisse patienter dans la salle d'attente. Je vous laisse patienter dans la salle d'attente. Now again, this is a phrase which is very transferable between contexts. Wherever you're booking an appointment, you go in and wait to be seen. She's going to look you up on her list of appointments and say, Très bien, je vous laisse patienter dans la salle d'attente. Patienter is simply another verb to mean wait. This is almost exclusively the one used instead of attendre in this context. If it's your first time visiting this doctor, you're likely going to have to fill out something like a questionnaire médical, right? That's sort of pretty self-explanatory in the name. But if you're returning to this doctor, then it's likely that this doctor is your médecin traitant. Your médecin traitant, and this means your registered GP, general practitioner. Once, I went to a new doctor because my doctor wasn't available at the time that I wanted to see her, and I was told that I wouldn't be reimbursed by the state health insurance because I wasn't supposed to go to any other doctor other than my médecin traitant. When I explained that elle n'avait pas de disponibilité, i.e. she wasn't available, she made a note of that and all was well. If you are in France and you'd like to change a doctor, then I found that you can either go to the new doctor and during your consultation, or ta consultation, votre consultation, you should ask them when I changed doctor from my first to my current doctor now. She did it there and then in front of me on her computer, not a problem. However, the more old school and a way which is still very much in practice is to fill out this blue and white form, which I'll put up here and a link to down in the description below if you want to go and check it out whether or not you are in France. You simply fill this form out with your details and the details of the doctor that you'd like to become your médecin traitant. You post it off to the body which manages your state healthcare and they consult with the doctor. If the doctor agrees, then all is good and he or she will then become your médecin traitant. Now, with the help of a frankly ridiculous comedy sketch from a pair of French comics, I'm going to pull out some more vocabulary that you'll commonly hear when visiting the doctor in a francophone country. The language they use is very natural and accurate, and so this is really perfect for us as French learners. It's fast, but I will play things twice, but notice how they use vous and its associated conjugations with the patients. This is called le vouvoiement, and they use this rather than tu and the conjugations for tu because this is a formal and professional setting. Alors, the first piece of French from this sketch is actually said 3 times in 3 slightly different ways. So I'm going to play them back to back and then we're going to talk about it.
Bon, je vous pèse pas, je marque que vous êtes gros.
Bah, quand même, non, je suis pas gros.
Attendez, vous êtes pas gros?
Bah non.
Tiens, rajoute qu'il est con, celui. Levez-vous, je vais vous peser. Allez, levez-vous, j'ai pas que ça à faire. Allez. Ah, d'accord. Autant pour moi. Ok. Ah bah la pesée sera approximative.
Those last 2 were awkward. Here the doctors are talking about weighing the patients and they use the verb peser. Peser. Now if you weigh yourself, you use the verb se peser. I would say je me pèse tous les matins. Je me pèse tous les matins. But when you're actually weighing someone else, as it is common for the doctor to do, he says je vous pèse or je vais vous peser, or use the noun for the actual act of weighing, which is la peser. La peser.
Bon, je vous pèse pas, je marque que vous êtes gros.
So in the first one he says je vous pèse pas. It's in the present tense, but this is really common practice for the French to do, even though the thing is going to happen in the very near future. So he says je vous pèse pas, je vais marquer que vous êtes gros. So obviously ridiculous, you wouldn't hear it in a doctor's surgery, but he says I'm not going to weigh you, I'm going to write down that you're fat.
Levez-vous, je vais vous peser. Allez, levez-vous, j'ai pas que ça à faire.
The second one, je vais vous peser. Je vais vous peser, very simply, I'm going to weigh you. Here uses actually the futur proche with aller to say je vais vous peser, but of course the lady is in a wheelchair. He has not figured that out yet, and he's telling her to hurry up, get out of the chair. I have got other things to do.
Ah bah la pesée sera approximative.
And in the third part, he says la pesée sera approximative. So here he uses the noun form of, like I said, weighing. La pesée sera approximative. Approximate.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, vous allez bien?
Oui.
Eh ben super.
Suivant.
So just like we in English would accept that a doctor calling next is short for the next patient, suivant is short for le patient suivant. It's not le prochain patient. They'd more likely say le patient suivant, which literally is the following patient, right? Quite often the doctor will actually come out and know the name of the patient, but sometimes they won't. I guess this is different depending on the surgery. My doctor comes out and knows who is next on her list.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, vous allez bien?
Oui.
Eh ben super.
Suivant.
The joke here is mocking the fact that when we ask how are you, or in French, vous allez bien, for example, we often just say fine or oui, bien, which doesn't make sense if you're at the doctor. So that's the joke there.
Vous mesurez 1m40. C'est pas très grand, hein?
So in this clip, he says, vous mesurez 1m40 and says that that's quite short, but he's measuring him all wrong. So we've seen the verb peser to weigh someone, peser quelqu'un, and we've also seen now mesurer quelqu'un for height. So mesurer for height and peser for weight. You can also use faire for height, but in the doctor's office they're going to be more specific and they'll say mesurer. But if you ever forget mesurer and you want to say how tall you are or how short you are, you can also say je fais and then the measurement. Just don't forget that in France and Europe in general, they use the metric system.
Docteur, j'ai un peu peur des piqûres.
Vous inquiétez pas, monsieur Gonneau, j'ai une super technique.
Are you afraid of needles? Well, this guy certainly is. In English, we'd most commonly say the word needle, right? But in French, at least in this scene, they refer to the shot itself. Une piqûre is both the term for a shot and a sting or a prick of something, like a bee, une piqûre d'abeille. And the doctor also says, ne vous inquiétez pas. Ne vous inquiétez pas, which means don't worry. Really handy phrase to know. Ne vous inquiétez pas with someone who you'd use vous, or if you want to use it with plural or multiple people, you say ne vous inquiétez pas. You can also use ne t'inquiète pas for the more friendly, informal form.
Bien, monsieur Gonneau, on va tester vos réflexes. Tendez la jambe.
Another really common thing that the doctor's going to do, especially the first time that they've seen you or the first time they've seen you in a while, is to tester vos réflexes. Tester vos réflexes. And here he says this, it's very obvious, and he gets the baseball bat out. It's just ridiculous, right? But he says, tendez votre jambe. Tendez votre jambe. And this is the imperative form of the verb tendre. Tendre, which means to hold out, or even to straighten. But here we know that he's saying, tendez votre jambe, hold out your leg. So I can smash it with a baseball bat.
Bien, monsieur Gonneau, on va tester vos réflexes. Tendez la jambe.
Right, I guess the guys over at Palmachot never thought that their scene would be used to teach some French language, but you can find the full clip down below in the description and watch it at the end of this one if you're interested. Now, when you've been examined, the doctor may prescribe you some medication or refer you to a specialist. They'll print off what's called une ordonnance, which, as far as I know, is the name for a prescription. But it's also, as far as I know, please correct me if I'm wrong, French natives, it's also the name of a letter referring you to the specialist. So all the things that he or she prints off is called une ordonnance. This is a really useful word to know, because then you can go to the pharmacy, if indeed it is a prescription for medication, and hand it over. Now, it's very easy. You just say, hand it over, you pay if you need to pay, and you get your medication. However, I like to deliberately use any new words that I get in the next opportunity that I get, even if it's not absolutely necessary for the person to understand me. So I would go to the pharmacy and I would say, j'ai cette ordonnance, s'il vous plaît. J'ai cette ordonnance, s'il vous plaît, while I'm handing it over. It just helps to maintain and retain and reinforce the vocabulary I'm trying to get stuck in my memory. Now, if you are in France and you haven't yet got your carte vitale, which I called when I got it the holy grail for expats in France, you'll probably get one of these forms called une feuille de soins, which you can use to get reimbursed for some or all of the fees incurred from your appointment and maybe your medication. The carte vitale simply speeds this up, and that's all basically. You'll fill out this form. It's a bit annoying because you have to fill it out, but then you post it off to your health insurer, the state health insurer, and then they coordinate with your mutuelle if you've got some top-up insurance, and then you'll be reimbursed whatever you're owed within a few weeks. But then hopefully you'll have your carte vitale very soon. Voilà. What do you think about this kind of video? I wanted to go through some of the everyday language heard in a specific context, like going to the doctor, and I thought this would be a fun way to do it. What do you think? I really am curious so that I can get it right the next time. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this one, don't hesitate to click the like button down below, leave a comment telling me what you think, and share the video with anyone else you might think will find it interesting, all to tell YouTube and the YouTube algorithm to take note of it and to show it to more people. Click down below in the description for all the things mentioned in today's video, as well as to get your hands on a copy of my free guide, How to Become a More Confident French Speaker. But until next time, merci beaucoup d'avoir regardé. Je vous reverrai dans la prochaine vidéo. Ciao, ciao.